proposal as presented by Administrator Lemons and approve the second amendment to the city administrator contract of the city of Lemons. I have a motion from Ms. Harris. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Ms. Conrad. All those in favor, please raise your hand. 5-0 approved. And let's move on to item 4, our public hearing. There will be no public hearing as the applicant has withdrawn the request. So we are going to move forward to item 6.
May I ask a question, or are we not, for our lawyer, or can we not discuss this at all?
It's just
For
Which one? For the one that they removed their request.
no, it'll go
Okay.
back to it. Do we need Mr. Lowry for the next item? Subdivision ordinance?
5, 6.
6.
We're skipping 4 and 5.
Oh, we're skipping
I've got
5?
different numbers.
Yeah,
Five is the approval of the Holden property.
Oh, that's, 5 is not, 5 is the subdivision ordinance.
No,
it's not.
In my book.
6 is
we have to go off what it says on the,
Oh, okay, so the number different here.
because we added the proclamation.
Okay.
That was my fault. I added it late and it was messed up.
Got it.
All right.
All right, any other items we need Mr. Lowry for? Mr. Lawrence, do you think we need Mr. Lowry for the subdivision board?
I think we might be wise to keep them I don't expect this to go long, but if there might be a legal question.
As opposed to prevent having to push it again.
So we're going to move on to item 6, discussion, consideration, possible action on ordinance amending the city of Glen Oaks subdivision ordinance. Now, Mr. Lawrence?
So we took the comments and recommendations offered at the last meeting, incorporated them into the document. Some of it was just some typos and incorrect terminology, and we fixed that. I worked with Councilman Freeze to do some redlining on the development agreement portion of the ordinance to accomplish his objective of making sure that the city council had an opportunity to approve any commitments enlarging facilities or anything of that nature. Also, since then, Councilwoman Walker has brought in another amendment to page 43. That's where the red line is. On item B, at the end of that sentence, she added the words, suggested that we add the word subject to city council approval.
That was discussed last time. It
Oh,
just
what?
was inadvertently left off of this. And I had it in my notes.
Very good. So we've got that addition plus the red lining that's in your packet. And then the other editing corrections, and I believe that gets us to where the council wanted us to be at the last meeting.
Do you have any questions, comments on these, on this item?
Did P&Z have an opportunity to review this with the changes? I'm trying to, we did not change the approval process stops at P&Z unless it's,
That's where y'all left it last
we
time.
kept it at that, right? Okay, just making sure I didn't miss that. And why did we redline out having a standard development agreement?
Well, my understanding was that the council wanted to make sure that they were the ones to approve any commitments to spend funds, and you could put that back in.
Okay.
I mean, the city has to pre-approve that. If the council's pleasure is to do that, it certainly can be done, but I felt like that.
Okay, so this was specific to the cost sharing. Okay, got it. And that makes sense because those would conflict otherwise.
Additional questions? Ms. Conrad?
I'm just looking through my notes. It's a little bit long. I don't think so. I think
Mr.
so.
Freeze, do you have any questions or comments? I know that you spoke to Mr. Lawrence about some things.
Just for clarification, is it still where the
the city council doesn't have the final approval on the plat. This lies with the P and Z.
Yes, sir.
To make sure I understand that process though, right, because I was trying to make sure I understood it. It's, P and Z can only approve a plat if it meets all of our requirements. So if they approve something, it's something we couldn't say no to anyways, right? Because it's just the things, for P and Z to approve it, it has to meet our requirements, so if it didn't go to P and Z and it came to us, we would have to approve it because it meets all of our requirements.
City Attorney Lowry, would you please answer that question?
Yeah, that's correct. And that's saying it slightly differently. You don't have the discretion to deny a plat that meets your requirements.
Right. So we're not losing.
You're not losing any authority because it's a
Right.
non-discretionary act.
Perfect. Okay, that helps. I was trying to wrap my brain and I was like, well, we can't say no anyway, so why even take a look at it? I mean, you know.
Mr.
My only question with wanting to look at it again is just so that everyone would be aware that we are, generating plats and approving plats. I don't think we handle that many plats that it's a huge impediment to be presented at a meeting, at a city council meeting, and let everyone know that, hey, we're approving a plat. That's my thinking behind it, in an effort to try to have kind of full disclosure of what we are approving or have kind of on the plate. It comes to the city council. It won't catch anybody by surprise if it comes to the city council.
Well, shouldn't it come through the building officials update section? Because we've been getting that. I mean, that's a new thing. It hasn't been happening an extremely long amount of time, but aren't we now getting that notification, or shouldn't we be getting that notification as part of our monthly updates?
And they give us the minutes from the P and Z meetings as part of that update.
Because yeah, I'm with you. I don't want to be caught off guard by anything. But whether we're hearing about it from the person making the request that we have to say yes to, or hearing about it from the person who said yes because they had to say yes to it, as long as we're hearing it.
There's a deal in here too. It's, George, I don't know if do you have your packet? Have you pulled it up online to be able to look at the stuff?
Yes.
On page 44 or page 7 of 77, under E dedications, it talks about the P and Z and the city council. It says any such dedication before or after actual appropriation may be vacated by the council in any manner provided by law. Does that take care of what you were thinking?
I think that pertains to any dedication of property as part of a development agreement, right? Isn't that from that?
It says offered dedications. I'm not sure.
Well, that would be right-of-way easements, alleyways, fire lanes, and it basically says that the city council would have the discretion to abandon those at some point in the future, should in your discretion you deem fit to do so.
But
Thank
that's
you.
as it relates to like real property, not to the action.
Okay.
So, George, are you happy with the fact that we get it in our monthly report from the building official and the P and Z minutes? So that we're not caught unawares?
Yes.
Any other questions or comments, discussion up here? Ms. Streeter?
I don't think I actually need to state this, but again, I just wanted to reiterate for everybody, the goal is if a plat is brought to P&Z and it meets every single one of the ordinances that we have in place, then we would be able to provide you with all the information, but we would save time and money by not having to do public hearings. We wouldn't have to have our developers here multiple times to get the same conversation. And if there is a variance, such as we have had with Squaw Creek, they have to bring all variances to city council. So all we're really doing is stamping the yeses that we don't have any ability to say no to. Anything that's a deviation from what we allow automatically has to come to city council. So by having our notes, by having all of our comments, by having our recommendation letters going into your packets, you would be strictly 1 week behind us in knowing what's going on because of the fact that we moved our meetings. So it really is, at this point, it's just us saying, yeah, you're going to do this because this is what we allow. And it saves them from having to show up at multiple meetings. It saves us from having to do multiple public notices. And in the end, it's just an efficiency matter. So I just want to, nobody's trying to commit money, nobody's doing any variance approvals. If anything comes to us that is out of the norm, it goes automatically to city council no matter what. Right. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other citizen comments on this item? Mr. Cagle? I heard some rumbling
Yes.
over there.
Yes. My name is James Cagle, and I live in Granbury, but I own a significant amount of property here in Glen Rose. I own all of Tustin Village, all the lots, plus we're building like 6-7 homes. But in regards to Squaw Valley Estates, was at the meeting last week, the P&Z meeting, and they voted 5-0 to approve everything based on comments back from the city engineer, looking at the final plat, making sure that everything is done according to all the specs of the city of Glen Rose. And this is my 9th, she talked about a lot of, I've been to 9 meetings trying to get final approval on variances. All the variances, we only had 1 or 2, they were approved. A couple of them were turned down. We redid the plat based on that. But tonight, also, I've asked Courtney Coates with Topographic, he's our engineer, and he has been meeting the last week, really, with your engineer as far as everything else in Michael Lemon's that they wanted done, and it has been updated and done completely. And I think he can speak more on that, but the city engineer for y'all approved everything today. That was there that he wanted done. And in fact, we brought a survey team back out yesterday to redo the drainage study that your city engineer would do. So based on that, I don't know anything else we could do. I'd ask that you approve it.
We're not on that topic
Oh,
yet.
I'm sorry.
We're on procedures.
Any
Oh,
other
yeah.
citizen comments on this item?
You're okay.
All right, do I have a motion to approve ordinance number 2022.09.27A with the changes submitted from Ms. Walker earlier today? Oh, I have a motion from Ms. Conrad and a second from Mr. Jocelyn. All those in favor, please raise your hand. 5-0 approved.
What was the number?
The ordinance number 27A. All right, are we good with Mr. Lowry?
Did he possibly, well, I just had one quick question on this next one.
Mr. Lowry?
Probably not. I don't think so. I'm not sure. That's why I'm saying that.
Okay. Okay, we will hang around for one more agenda item and then we'll cut you loose there. All right, let's move on to, hold on, I lost my agenda. Let's move on to item 7, discussion, consideration, and possible action on approval of the final plat of Squaw Valley Estates subdivision. Mr. Lemons.
Mayor, members of the council, so we did have a recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission to approve the subdivision pending input from the city engineer and public works director, because we've gotten some of the information late. And so we did get the input from the city engineer, Chris Hay, and he did have a few comments. And as Mr. Cagle mentioned, they responded to the comments and requests that he made thoroughly, and they have satisfied all of his input. And so, in addition to the packet, there are some documents that are the final drawings that have been reviewed and approved by the city engineer. And so, everything is in order now, ready for final approval. The only thing is that we can't file it until we get a bond that is satisfactory in amount to our city engineer and satisfactory as to form with our city attorney. But once we have that, and it's been reviewed and approved by those two officials, the plat can be filed. But you can go ahead and approve the final plat tonight. We'll just hold on to it until we get that bond.
Any questions for Mr. Owens?
So in our agenda item, from the end of last week, we were waiting to hear back from Mr. Hayes had presented some issues or some concerns, and we were waiting to kind of say we need those to be addressed, but as of today, they've already been addressed and satisfactorily.
Yes, ma'am. There's the emails on your desk, the conversations, and so it's all been reviewed and approved. Reviewed, corrected, and approved, and we're in good shape at this point. I don't believe, Public Works Director Holder, do you have any further comment?
So we could, I'm sorry.
Well, my question was, I've looked through these and I didn't see it on these. I thought this, and Mr. Lemons just said this was the final plat. Notation should be made on the final version of the final plat, noting the variances granted by the city council concerning the length of the cul-de-sac and the approval to eliminate curbs and allow ditches and culverts. I didn't see that anywhere on here. I looked through it, and that was the only thing I was.
Right, and we were waiting to do the Mylars, which is the copies that we signed. Can you put that note on there about those variances that were granted, just to document it?
Yes.
That's the only thing, and that's why I wasn't sure if Mr. Lauer needed to input on that or not.
Harris, any questions? President? Mr. Freeze, do you have any questions or comments? No? Any citizen comments on this item? All right, do I have a motion to approve the plat subject to engineer Chris Hayes' concerns being satisfied and the bond being approved by the city engineer and the city attorney? So moved. A motion from Mr. Joslin, a second from Ms. Walker. All those in favor, please raise your hand. 5-0 approved. Move on to item 8, consider approval or other action regarding an ordinance amending the city of Glen Rose's sanitation rates to be effective January 1st, 2023. Mr. Lauer, you are free to go, sir.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank y'all. Have a good evening. Thank you,
too.
sir.
Mr. Lemons.
This is really, I'd be happy to, but this is an agenda item from council members.
Mr. Freeze or Ms. Conrad, which one of you'd like to start the conversation?
Pushing buttons.
Keep pushing buttons.
Dee, would you like to start it?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So first off, a recognition and a thank you for Councilman Freeze for asking us to take a little bit of a deeper dive into this. I'm glad we did, and maybe it's just me being the numbers nerd that I am, but I loved getting an opportunity to kind of slice and dice. Take us back to a couple of meetings ago, I think, where Mr. Freeze was talking about the upcoming trash fees and seeing some real disproportionate fees for the increases that we were seeing for our commercial clients versus those that we were seeing for our residential clients. And so we were able to take what was the recommended rate from Frontier and kind of bump those rates up against what the current rates are with Republic. Keeping in mind that we have actually already seen a rate increase. We just hadn't passed that increase on this year. So we knew that when our new rates came out that we were going to have to see an increase. Frontier did what all of our offers did, which was they kept the residential rates basically flat. I think they had increased it by 40-something cents. And so they really had our commercial clients subsidize the total of the increase. Our overall increase with Frontier was lower than everybody else. So Frontier was still the right one to go with a total cost expense. But what we recognized pretty quickly when we started looking at the numbers was that in order to keep the residential rates flat, they significantly increased the commercial rates. And when I say significantly, some of ours actually had 109% increase. So some commercial clients were going to see a doubling of their rates. And again, to kind of give you an idea, over 50% of our commercial clients were going to see a 70% or higher increase. Whereas our residents were, our residential rate was again increasing by 40 something cents. So we looked through and really kind of tried to evaluate the best approach to go with it to ensure that, the increases are real. We're all experiencing them, but was it really appropriate for commercial clients to subsidize the increases for our residential? And our proposition was that wasn't an appropriate thing to do. Councilman Free's idea was for us to take our suggestion to P&Z, because we have a good kind of cross-section of city representation on P&Z. We have business owners, we have residents, and business owners with different types of trash usage, and so it really was a good test audience for us to look at. So what you have in your page 177 is essentially where we provided our recommendation for what our future rates should look like, and really just base it on what are folks' current rates. So some folks aren't seeing a 5% increase and others seeing 109. Everyone is seeing a proportionate increase, which is relatively low. So when we look at what our residents are going to get, so our single family service, the current rate is $10.40, the future rate will be $11.96. So about $1.50, but also keep in mind that that also includes 4 bulk trash pickups instead of 2. And that includes the 2 drops to the transfer station. So they are seeing a slight increase, but with that increase, they're also getting a significant amount of additional services that they weren't receiving. So what you see on page 177 is what we propose our future rates look like. Again, that way, no one is going to see a massive blowout of their budget. If your family budget or your business budget, no one can really easily prepare for a 70, 80, 90% increase. So that's just a hardship that we want to try to avoid for both businesses and residents. So if you're using a huge amount and you are getting 2 by 8 yards collected 4 times, you're going up by, $125. So it is proportional, whereas again, if you're a resident, you're going up by $1.56. So nothing that should really cause significant harm to the budget or the pocketbooks of our citizens, regardless of whether they're residential or commercial. So what we'd like to bring to you is our proposal that we, as opposed to the rates that we previously provided that were recommended by Frontier, we go with these rates instead. We did ultimately get our bottom line budget the same. So we said with Frontier's rates, what's the total that it's going to cost the city? And with these proposed rates, the total to the city is still the same. So we're not collecting significantly more. We're not collecting significantly less. The bottom line numbers pretty much line up. But again, the proportionality is shifted to a more equal appropriation. George, that was a lot. Is there anything you'd add or change or highlight?
I would just stress at the bottom line, if everything stays the same, if the same commercial users keep the same pickup, same size, at the end of the month, we are going to net out just ever so slightly ahead, and we will not be losing anything with kind of recalculating the rates like this. I think it's a good equitable way to kind of, spread the increase amongst everybody.
So just basically, we're collecting the same amount of money, but just with the rates we're coming up with, not with the rates Frontier is going to be charging us.
Okay. Yeah. And I didn't say, but P&Z was in favor. We didn't have any opposition from P&Z. Again, this wasn't a voting issue. It was just guys, what do y'all think? Because, different perspective, and we had support from P&Z in this recommendation as well.
Any other questions or comments?
I would like to not raise the residential rates that much. I knew the percentages we were using, and it would still raise the residential rates a little bit, but to do residential at $10.82 instead of.
You have to,
$9.96.
so it's very similar to, I like to use Michael's comparison of raising tax rates in the city versus tax rates in the county. You know, for every penny that we raise in the county, we have to raise in the city by 11 cents. It's the same way. If we lower the rate anymore, because we played with all kinds of rates. If we lowered rates more for our residential, because it's such a bulk, right? It's 952.
Yeah, it's
So
a
it's over-
difference of $1,100 overall.
Right. So again, our thought was if we do that, then we have to start fiddling with 16% for this one and 17% for this one, because as you can see, some folks, some buckets, we just have one in it, some buckets we have five. And so we did, initially, we tried looking at things a little bit differently and raising by different amounts, different ones, but we could not get that bottom line to the same one. The other thing to consider is that this is, also want to highlight, this is just a snapshot in time. So at the time that we did this analysis, this is what our counts looked like, but our counts could change. And so if we lose one of these large ones, then not having that increase with our residents is really gonna harm us. We're not gonna be able to close that gap. The other thing to keep in mind is this is still less, I believe, or very close to what we've been paying already for residential. Difference is the city's been paying it for residents instead of the residents. So we had that 10% increase happen this year that did not get passed down to our residents. So this is really, we have been subsidizing the trash collection basically for 6-ish months, I think, something along those lines. So it's, again, it's very relative, very similar to the increase that was, if not less still. And again, it's the additional service as well, the 4 times that they're getting. And the bulk pickup, that does not apply to the businesses, correct? To the
Right, they don't
businesses,
get
they
the
don't get the
bulk
bulk pickup.
That's-
So again, our residents are getting, that's right, so our residents are getting additional services,
They don't
or they
get,
don't get the 2
they
transfer
don't get the 2
stations.
trips. I
Yes,
believe they get the
they don't
bulk.
get the 2
they don't
transfer
get the 2
stations.
trips. Yeah.
So they're getting more for not significantly more. So we'd have to get the computer out and start reconfiguring if we were looking at numbers, if we're so inclined to hold on it.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I know it's just $1.50, but for everything has been going up so much. And when you're on a fixed income, the social security has not gone up.
Right, but that same is the
That's
true
what
for all our
we-
businesses.
Yeah, I mean, and the same thing goes for, your electric and your water and everything else.
Yeah, and
You know,
the other numbers.
and we already
They all
took-
looked good.
Yeah, I mean, but we already took a hit for the residents, in the past 6 months by not passing on that 10% increase and actually going negative 1% that the city's paying for it. So I don't see how we gave them a 6-month break, on not changing the rates, keeping it what it was, but we can't continue to do that or might as well get out of the trash business.
Right, and we need to think about our city as a whole, not just the residents, the citizens that vote for us, but the actual business owners and the residents and everything that it affects, because yes, you're paying more for your trash service, but if your businesses are paying 100% more, 109% more, 125%
Yeah, that was
more,
too much.
then they are gonna have to turn around and raise their rates, which you're gonna end up having to pay for that as well, so
They're
it
gonna
means.
get you one way or the other.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
Any
I,
other questions or comments up here?
I like the adjustments to the business stuff, I mean, because it's crazy.
It was eye-opening for sure to start really seeing how they just placed the bulk of the increase, about 50% of our citizenry, and I include the business owners, about 50% of them were paying the bulk of the increase.
Well, there's one here that they're paying $670 now with the proposed that was originally, they were gonna be paying $1,100, and that's not acceptable.
Yeah.
So I do agree with that.
I mean, and as a city, like I said, we have to think about our city as a whole. Streeter?
Are you in agreement with not changing everything?
The commercial stuff is great,
Okay, then I am gonna speak.
I have a hard time with I just. keep thinking
$1.50 a month, you have a hard time with $1.50 a month.
Get that out of the car.
But I
Okay.
want someone that's part of social security.
How many share of your population in this city is on that fixed social security number that you're worried about?
I do not know.
Okay. You're looking at a very small population, and we agree, it sucks. But if you change the residential number, you have to go back and change the business numbers. Your businesses in this town are barely scraping by as it is. So many of them, not just because, I mean, we're getting inflations. I mean, the price of all the goods that we sell to the citizens of this county are rising. I have a 35% increase in my food costs that I turn around and sell to the customers. I have a 50% increase in my cost related to cleaning. My cost related to the grease traps that we passed an ordinance against. My cost, I just got told that pest control is going to go up 55%. So you want to come back and dither, I like that word, about $1.50 for the small percentage of our community that is on fixed incomes. I'll give them the $1.50 because that's going to save me hundreds. So I really need you guys to consider this, that if you proceed to not take what Mr. Freeze and Dee has done, which has balanced the increases across the entire community, then prices are going to rise, and milk, grocery stores are going to have to increase their prices. The price of everything else that they need is going to go up, and that's going to be a lot more than $1.50. So when Dean and when Councilman Conrad and Freeze came to the PNC, we have a business owner and a resident. We have a business owner and a resident. We have residents. And we looked at this and we talked at great length. We looked at my example of I have a two a week 4-yard dumpster, and it's going to increase me, but it's an increase I can handle. The original increase that was going to be, I would have had to change. I would have had to go to smaller dumpsters. I would have had to do less pickups, and then there's going to be a trash overflow problem, which is then going to create a zoning and code ordinance problem, which is going to cost the city more because people weren't going to be able to afford their trash pickups. So please don't change this. Please keep this the way it is. This is fair and equitable.
Any further citizen comments on this item? I have a motion to approve ordinance number 2022-09,
So moved.
27B as presented. I have a motion from Ms. Harris. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Mr. Joslin. All those in favor, please raise your hands. 4. All those opposed? 1 opposition. Approved. Okay, let's move on to item 9, discussion, consideration, possible action on resolution authorizing opening an account at Interbank and signatories for the same. Mr. Lemons.
I would like to defer to Councilman Freeze. This is his request to be put back on the agenda.
Mr. Freeze?
Okay, so we looked at we looked at this 2 weeks ago, and I believe that you know, we kind of passed on it in an effort to try to get some more information. And I believe Administrator Lemons had asked First Financial, if they had any program or something similar to this. And I don't want to speak out of turn, but I believe the lady said that she would look at it and try to kind of get some information and bring back to us whenever they submitted a proposal for the depository agreement. And I just kind of feel like that if we, you know, we have an opportunity to open this IntraFi account, and you know, we're worried about kind of picking up a few pennies here or there, but in just real dollars for 12 months, a 1% difference on $1 million would be about $10,000 in just interest income over and above what we are currently receiving. So I wanted to go ahead and act on the presentation that, or the proposal that came from Interbank. And if First Financial comes up with another option, we still have money available at TechSpool or TechStar where we could move to a proposal from First Financial. But if we're going to make 100 basis points more than what we're currently making today, guys, it's prudent and it's a good move to get more money off of your reserves. And it's going to be FDIC backed. It's protected. So I wanted to bring it back so that we could take action on it. I think we should approve it.
Harris?
Well, Administrator Lemons, I don't know, did George have this?
I talked to him about that and I emailed it to him.
Okay. He gave us these ratings on Interbank versus First Financial Bank. You know, I've always been a little bit hesitant in moving our money out of guaranteed tax pool and stuff to a little more risk, and I understand it's FDIC covered and stuff like that, but Interbank is ranked a C+ versus First Financial an A. Furthermore, as far as Interbank goes on capitalization, it's just fair to weak. Asset quality is very fair to weak. Liquidity is fair to weak. I just don't feel comfortable in using the citizens' money on funds that have such a low ranking, C+, and liquidity is not a good, it's weak. And I don't see that it's a good way of changing it this time, based on this
So I
information.
can share a banking experience. Should a bank fail tomorrow, literally the FDIC walks into the bank and they lock the doors and they count the money and they see what's there and they pull their accounts, and the people whose money is in there, as long as it's within the limits, feel no negative ramifications of it. That's the whole purpose of FDIC insurance. That's why you go with FDIC insured banks. So they could get closed down tomorrow. They could, I'm not gonna give an example because then I don't want people to say that's what they're doing, but they could be doing something highly illegal as a bank. Pick your poison on what it is. And as long as the amount that we have in there meets within the FDIC limits, and it's not in it's not in a stock or a bond, but it's in an account that is an FDIC insured account, they could fail tomorrow and have 7 cents in the bank and we still wouldn't have any negative impact to our money.
So you're saying that if they're shut down for whatever
Pick
reasons,
the worst thing.
and we've had money in there and it's been gaining interest, we're gonna get that interest
Yes.
as well?
Yeah, yes, because that is the money it's your money that's in that bank.
That's
Regardless of where that money comes from, deposits or the
That's
bank.
depository guarantee and it's FDIC backed. And I think part of the reason why their numbers may be, am I on mute again? No, okay. Part of the reason why their liquidity numbers may be looking so fair to weak is because they have a fair amount of loans out, but they don't have enough in deposits. So when these banks get into these stress tests that are required by federal bank regulators, they get their ratios out of whack and they need more in assets. And the way to get more assets is deposits. They don't want to stop taking loans on construction loans because that's where the money is for them in making and originating those loans. But they have to have the assets on deposit so that their ratios look good.
And I'm not sure if the number has changed, but for perspective, I know within the last 2 or 3 years, a bank had to be able to provide evidence that they could function for 3 years without taking in one single penny and still continue to function. So, I mean, I couldn't go 3 years without working and still pay all my bills. So when we look at these ratios, they are rightfully so highly conservative for the individual. So they're like, your bank could literally not make a penny and still have to be able to function. So they have really, really high thresholds that they have to meet, which then means they do need to kind of reconfigure what they have and how they have it and where they have it to meet those stress tests. Those stress tests are no joke. But again, if we were talking about using them for an investment banker, if we were talking about using them as we're going to the bank and what kind of level of service are we receiving from them, I would potentially have some different lean, but just I mean, obviously, everybody is welcome to their own comfort level, but just wanted to provide to you that when FDIC comes in, they walk into the bank, they lock it up, they take over, it is now their bank. And it doesn't matter how much money is in that bank itself. If you have money in an account, that money is your money. The FDIC will figure out how to give it to you. I've actually helped go into a bank that's been taken over before. It's no joke. Yeah. It's a real deal, yeah.
But some of the banks, they don't deposit your interest they never do it on it daily, and it's like monthly or every 3 months. And if they don't have the money in your account already, I don't know that the FDIC would be required to pay it. If the money,
That's not
they
true,
have-
TJ.
Well, that's why I
If the
said I
money's
don't.
if the money's in your books and they close it on October 1, you're gonna earn interest all the way up till October 1, close of business day. That's federal law.
I don't have a problem with the rating because it's rated, higher on in other places, so I don't, that's not a concern. The concern I have is that, our last meeting, and as I look down my fellow council members, everyone seemed to be in agreement that we were going to shop this. And it was my understanding that we were going to make a couple of calls and see what we came up with. And that's my concern, where we're at, and has that been done?
And I did contact First Financial Bank and asked for what they had to offer. And the response was, as Councilmember Free said earlier, that she would get us something whenever she provided us with the depository proposal, which is due here in 2 weeks, I believe. So it will be coming to you at your next meeting.
But that's not the only bank in town.
Yeah.
First Financial and Interbank are not the only banks.
But I was checking with the people that we had accounts with.
When you checked with her, did you let her know that this was on the agenda, that we needed information before, in an expeditious time, because this was going to be on the agenda this time?
Well, I let her know what we were dealing with, and her response was that she'd get whenever she provided the depository. And I thought that would be fine, we would just take this up at the October meeting. But then since it was Councilmember Free's agenda item, I got back with him and said, this is the situation. He wanted to go ahead and have it tonight, so.
The type of account that we're looking at placing it in, are there any penalties for withdrawing early, anything like that? So we could theoretically put the money in tomorrow, get an offer from another bank in 2 weeks, that's a better offer, take our money and move it there.
It's like a checking account, you
Yeah.
can move it in.
Because what I heard you basically saying, George, is every day that we don't make a decision, we're losing money. So why not do something now while we're waiting to make, and potentially change if we change? Did I have that right?
Yeah, I think if somebody gives you a proposal, they deserve the common respect of an answer. And I mean, we kind of spent 20 minutes quibbling over $1.40-something, and here we have an opportunity to make, significantly more daily. And I just think it's, we have over $10 million in reserves. The prudent thing to do is try to, protect that for the taxpayer, but then make something off of it, while we're kind of in a limbo spot. And if First Financial comes back with a proposal that just wows us, and we choose to close out this one and move to another one and consolidate, I'm fine with that. But I just think that the prudent thing to do is to act.
I mean, we're looking at 2 weeks, Councilmember Freeze, and if you're looking at 2 weeks worth of interest, that's not a significant amount of money, especially I think compared to the amount of work that our staff is going to have to do to transfer the accounts, to get all the signatures on there again, to print checks. I mean, just the cost of printing checks, just the clerical end of things is going to far surpass any type of interest we're going to make in 2 weeks. So
Nobody prints checks anymore. That money's gonna be
Well,
wired direct from wherever
okay,
we have it to.
you have one sitting right here, council member. Do you want me to take that for you? So, since they're
Go
writing
ahead.
checks.
Guys, I just think we're quibbling over, nothing. I think we should move forward, set up an account at Interbank. And if First Financial comes back with a good proposal as well, we have 10 million, put another 500,000 or another million at First Financial if they have something. But she obviously didn't have much interest in pursuing this because she didn't just jump up and say, oh, yes, we have something similar.
Other questions or comments up here? Questions or comments from the audience? Okay, do I have a motion to approve resolution 2022-24, authorizing the Interbank account and signature?
So moved.
I have a motion from Ms. Conrad. Do I have a second? A second from Mr. Freeze. All those in favor, please raise your hand. 2. All those opposed? 3. On to item 10, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding a request to close streets around the courthouse for Tracks of Honor dinner. Ms. King?
That'll be Ms. Harris.
Ms. Harris?
The Somerville Cancer Support Group and some of the people from the emergency shelter from the fire, Chalk Mountain Fire, have gotten together and are put together this Tracks of Honor dinner to honor all of our first responders. It's kind of like a family dinner around the square. Certain restaurants are donating food. I think people are planning on bringing, kind of potluck style and some other things. It's a community-wide dinner. They said they're expecting like 1,400 to 1,500 people. So I'm requesting that we allow them to put barricades out to get that set up, because they'll have to have tables, chairs, and all of that stuff, so.
Which streets will we be closing?
It'll be basically,
Everything we can.
Bernard Street, and then right here and back here, so.
Are we trying to close Bernard as well?
Well, no, I mean, just up front of the courthouse.
Like,
At the
just
end
like
of-
it was done.
Just like it would be done for
It would be Elm Walnut.
Elm Walmart, sorry, my head's killing me.
Elm Walnut and Vernon.
Elm, Walnut, and Vernon.
Would you be going on the other side of Bernard too, like we've done it? Then you just
No, it's just gonna
stay on
be
this side?
like,
The
it'll
square.
be on this, the square. Yeah, make sure the streets are open all the way around the square. Just close off.
And will the city be providing barricades?
Yes.
And will the city be putting them up and taking them down?
Do they ever?
Sometimes. I've taken down many barricades.
Oh, I have too. Believe me, I put them up myself and take them down myself. Normally, the city just drops the barricades off at the restrooms or somewhere, and the people who are putting on the event put out the barricades and take them down and put them back out of the restrooms.
Questions or comments up here?
What about trash and bathrooms? Since that seems to be a hot topic on events on the square lately.
Bathrooms on us. That's
Yeah,
we don't have any.
Bathrooms will be open.
okay,
It is a community. It's about
Got
our
it, yeah.
EMS people.
gotcha, okay, yeah. And then trash, I saw them everywhere at the wine,
Well, that's because Administrator Lemons dealt with Republic to get them to donate those for that particular event.
okay.
Now, that won't be happening again next year, but that's,
Well, we do have in our next year's contract a certain amount of polycards. But I can ask Republic, because I know when the fires were happening, a lot of the companies were asking how they could help.
That's what I was thinking, is this could be something that
this
they
goes
could
back
say
to the
help with.
firemen
Yeah.
and, just a big thank you from the whole community.
That'd be great, yes,
I will
thank you.
make that call tomorrow.
Mr. Freeze, do you have anything you'd like to add? No?
No, it sounds like a great event.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Any further comments up here? Any citizen comments? All All right, do I have a motion to approve closing Elm, Walnut, and Vernon October 8th from 4 to 8 p.m.?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion from Ms. Walker and a second from Mr. Johnson. All those in favor, please raise your hand. 5-0 approved. Come on to item 11, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding website update proposals. Mr. Lemons, Ms. King.
We both have a part. I was working with K Consulting and she was working with Civic Plus. So we have in your packet proposals from both companies. And I believe that both are going to make a presentation for us this evening.
Who's first?
Flip the coin.
Yep.
Civic Plus is doing them.
Plus is first in the packet.
First packet.
So looks like Mr. Geiger is here.
I am
on
here.
Screen there, and then Mr. Jones also appears to be via phone. So
Absolutely. Good to see everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
y'all can go right ahead.
Awesome. That's really exciting. I'm really glad we got to go first. Good evening, council. I absolutely appreciate you and Bob allowing us to be here. So my name is Richard Jones. I'm an account executive for Civic Plus. I've been in this role going on 7 years. I also brought with me Bob Geiger, VP of Sales, also has a really deep expertise in the website platform that we'll present today. We're given about 10 minutes, which is absolutely perfect. But before we dive in, I'm curious if anybody has any specific questions about our platform or methodology.
The only specific question I had, I don't know if that's this time was, would there be a bill pay option online and would people be able to look up their own accounts to see what their history is, or stuff like that?
Ooh,
That would take an
account history.
external link with our, whoever does our, that'd be a fun view
It's a whole different
interface.
thing.
That's
So
not
that's
something
totally
they could
different.
do, correct?
Okay.
And with
Okay.
this
We can-
minus
yeah.
Unicode,
I'm sorry,
connection with Unicode, I think that's
it's the same company.
Okay, got it.
Yep, same company. And if you already have a link to an existing platform, the goal when we create this website is to really have a seamless user experience and user interface. So we'll make that seamless transition between the website and whatever link or account platform that already exists. We'd like to make it really easy. So cool. So our goal is to really highlight our platforms, really focus on the citizen experience, how our platform can really increase staff productivity, and really what makes Civic Plus different from any vendor that, of course, creates websites. I'm going to go and hand it off to Bob Geiger, and then after he's through, we'll open up for some questions.
Okay, great. I appreciate that introduction. Can you guys all hear me really well?
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay. Can you see my screen? Do you see the logo Civic Plus on there?
Nope, hold on.
I know you had that one on earlier.
It went off for some reason. Hold on one second.
We can see you well. I can see what you're trying to do there with the TV.
Yeah, we've got another one. Kind of here. I don't know why it doesn't. Let's see. No.
Does it match the presentation that was sent to us? It's in the
There we
packet?
go. There we go. It's going to be on this one over here. So we can't see you, but we can see your presentation.
Okay, you can see the brand logo Civic Plus on there.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, I'll just jump into it. Take us about 10 minutes, and then we'll just answer some questions. How's that? All right. So before we get going here, I just wanted to highlight, we have a client that has the exact product suite that you guys have. You guys are already using our MuniCode self-publishing software and our meetings and agenda management software, correct? So the addition of the website would bring these all together. And I wanted you to hear, hopefully the audio will come through smoothly. from a client that has that exact product suite from us. So I'll hit play here.
This is Annette from North Ogden, Utah.
Could you hear her start to talk? Did the
Yes.
audio- Okay, great. Here we go.
This is Annette from North Ogden, Utah. I would like to share with you some things my coworkers and I like about the modules we have purchased from Unicode. In the last 20 years, we have had 4 website providers, and this is by far the most user-friendly for both employees and the public. We now have the capability of storing our audio recordings on our website. We also can automatically connect our residents to our Facebook page that creates more transparency. The search feature is robust, and we feel confident telling the public that they can find just about whatever they need
Sorry,
when using the search feature. It is easy to move
I click on that.
through pages. It is easy to post new pages and update old ones. When looking for minutes, agendas, and audio, it is very accessible and easy to find. It is also easy for the public to find and access. Our new website is clean and attractive and represents our city well. We like how our website integrates with the agenda management module. The agenda management module streamlines our process and documents that upload very quickly to the module, and the end result always comes out the same, which creates consistency. It then automatically uploads the agenda and packet to our website, saving time. Before this, we would have to create individual packets and agendas, and then manually add everything to the website and create individual links for agenda items. One of the first modules we purchased was the code management module. And I want to tell you the comments from my coworker who oversees the city codes and ordinances. She says she has found it useful in talking with other recorders, and has found, instead of waiting for a codification group to manage our city code, it has given her a really strong understanding of our city code, of the ordinance, and specifically North Ogden City Code, because she has to physically make changes to the code. And with this understanding, it keeps the city on track better than sending it off to an outside group that doesn't have the connection to the city that she has. By having these tools in place, it allows us to not spend as much time on one of these particular tasks, as it makes each task quicker, consistent, and manageable. We recommend Unicode for your needs. Their service, reliability, and knowledge has been invaluable to North Ogden City. Thank you, Unicode, for making our jobs easier.
I share that with you because, like I said, they have the same product suite that you guys would have if we brought them all together. And the other thing I wanted to touch on with y'all is that we future-proof you. Okay, Civic Plus offers a wide array of municipal software, from website design, which we're talking about, to emergency routine communications, park and rec management, Citizen 311 programs, public works, code enforcement, fire safety, planning and permitting and licensing, codification, which you guys already do with us, FOIA management, social media archiving, web governance, and agenda management, which you already also do with us. And that's a key thing, because as you grow and scale, we're going to be there with you from step to step to step. We're not just there to just deal with the one issue of your website. We can bring a lot of things to bear to increase the efficiency and transparency for your citizens and for your staff. Also, Civic Plus has won about every major award there is out there for small population cities. We won all of the three CMA awards for the small government websites, as well as the National Association of Government Webmasters. We won them all. There's a delay in the number of the winnings as of late. You see, these are 2019 awards because since COVID, they haven't had the conferences as often. But we've also been in the GovTech Top 100 for 6 straight years. When we build a website, we have 3 things that we do better than about anyone. One is our stunning design. Your website will be something that you are proud of, your staff is proud of, and that fosters pride in the community. We know that taxpayer dollars are being spent here. The second thing is the resident self-service. We know when people come to the website, they're coming there to do a specific thing or to retrieve a specific piece of information. Our websites are designed with industry-leading search functionality so that your citizens can search by keyword or phrase and find exactly what they're looking for. It comes with an email subscription tool, which allows people to subscribe for content. And then anytime information goes up on the website about any particular subject you subscribe to, the site will proactively push the content to them. And then the system is designed so that when you create content on the back end, you create it once and it loads it up on the website in multiple locations with multiple logic patterns. So there's not one torturous path that a resident's expected to navigate in order to get to the content. We also make these things super easy to use for staff. So you don't need to have any web experience or IT experience in order to make content-rich updates to the website. We train you really well before we go live. We have time-saving integrations with our core modules, which I'll touch on here in just a second. And then again, we future-proof you with our entire product suite. So over time, we can optimize efficiency, transparency, and resident engagement as you continue to scale and grow as a city. Our websites are also very feature-rich. We have designed all of the modules and content systems and operating systems on the website to be perfectly designed for municipalities. And we have thousands of municipalities using these systems. And so as they're using them, we get the benefit, you get the benefit of their recommendations to us to improve it. So you have thousands of man hours and years of development that all come to bear on your behalf because we've been working with so many municipalities throughout the United States. In fact, if every citizen in the US and Canada checked to see if Civic Plus were helping behind the scenes, 350 million residents would find that that's the case. That's how prolific we are in the space. And then add-ons. We have an add-on feature set that allows you to grow. Our website's some key differentiators that you also need to keep in mind when you're making a selection. One is ADA compliance. When we deliver a website to you, your website will be WCAG 2.1 AA compliant for your style guide and your HTML structure, which means your font size, your font color, your color contrasting, as well as the HTML structure for the audio browsers for the visually impaired will logically take a visually impaired person through the site so that they can navigate it. The website is built on a Drupal open source platform. It's the most widely used government website platform. It's used by Tesla. It's used by NASA. And we are developing it on Drupal 9, which allows you to be backward compatible. So that means that when you move forward in advance, you can come back. It will bring you back. You can move forward into future versions seamlessly. Also, Civic Plus is a strategic partner with Drupal. So we work with the entire Drupal community to optimize the benefits that you get. Again, we have the industry's leading search capability, the industry integration that only Civic Plus can bring with your current web meetings management software. Also, easy web page authoring and creating content once. We just talked about that. And then customer service. When you go with us, what would happen is you'd be really well trained. Also, we have weekly regular training that you can just sign up for free. You just, if you need to get an extra thing, you just sign up, come, and there's an expert on the phone to help you and your staff. We have 24/7 help center access. We have support access by phone and email. And then we also have a customer success manager who's dedicated to you, who will reach out to you throughout the life of your contract with us and make sure that you're taken care of. Again, your meetings management software is seamlessly integrated with it. And I just wanted to show you how that would work in practice. So again, we build beautiful websites. You can see this one for Royal Palm Beach, Florida. But when you create an agenda packet using our meetings management software, which you guys already have, it will automatically post to the meetings directory of the website.
Bob,
Go ahead.
we're just getting a black screen on that one.
Oh, you are? It's
Mhm.
not bragging. You don't, let me just try this one more time. Is it starting to change? Is it changing on your end?
Yeah, we can see the logo in the upper left-hand corner, but the rest of it's black.
All right, let me try something else here. I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to share stop sharing, and I'm going to share a new screen. And this will bring this on. And then what you should see now is Wilsonville, Oregon calendar.
Got it.
You see it? Is it good?
Yes.
Okay. So when you create an agenda or agenda packet and you publish it, it will automatically publish into the website's meeting or calendaring system. So for instance, if I filter for department and I'm filtering for the city council, all of the calendar events roll up to a master calendar, but I'm filtering for the city council right off the master calendar. And if I click on this city council meeting, like right here, it will open the page that automatically populates from the meetings and agenda management software that has your video timestamped to your agenda and your agenda packet. And then it all becomes immediately searchable by keyword or phrase by the website search functionality. As well, when it publishes to the calendar, like you saw there, it also publishes to the meetings directory of the website. So this is an example of the meetings directory of a website. Again, all becomes immediately searchable by keyword or phrase. So if I click on this city council meeting right out of the meetings directory, bam, I'm right into the agenda, timestamped, all searchable by keyword and phrase that was published immediately. As soon as you hit publish out of that meeting software, it automatically puts it in the website. Okay. And then really cool, if you're searching on the website, you see this Brisbane site here? Okay, if you search like a word like animals or a topic or whatever, it'll search every agenda packet, every calendar event, anything that was ever posted to the website that's relevant to the term animals, and bring up all the search results. And because that can be like overwhelming to citizens sometimes, because you can see there are pages of search results for the term animals, you can, over on the left, you can filter your search for animals deeper into the site. So I can say search all meetings, and it will just isolate the search for animals into the meetings directory that's automatically posting from your agenda management solution. And then it'll allow your staff and your citizens to say, okay, now I'm searching all meetings. It tells me there were 1 meeting in 2019 where animals was referenced, 11 in 2021. There were 13 city council meetings. I can click on the 13 city council meetings. Maybe I'm trying to find something about the topic of animal harassment. I found that. I opened that particular meeting, and I'm right into that. I'm able to look at, Ordinance 648 was passed, and I can just do that. So it's a fully integrated suite with your current system. And then lastly, I'm going to switch screens here again one more time. Are we back to the black screen?
Yes.
Okay, then lastly, in short, we bring more experience in the municipal government web space than any other company that you'll work with. We provide you the easiest to use content management system for your staff and your citizens, easy CMS for staff, so you can make those easy updates no matter what level of IT experience you have. Easy for citizens because of search, email subscriptions, and creating content once and posting to multiple locations. We have a proven feature set, so that our feature set is used by thousands of municipalities and tested over and over again. And then our web platform integrates with your existing meetings and agenda management solution with the directory, calendar, and search. And then again, we put you on a future-proof path if you need any additional software support, because we have an entire suite of solutions that I showed you earlier in today's presentation. So you won't find a better partner than Civic Plus in working with you and that. And we would love nothing more than to help you guys and build you a beautiful website. And I think budgetarily, we've structured this in a way that's very smart for your municipality and for your citizens who pay the taxes there. There's no better value. It's a value thing than you would get with Civic Plus. So if you have any questions at this point, Richard and I are happy to answer them.
Absolutely. Real quick, Bob, let me chime in real fast. Can you do me a favor and go back to slide 3?
Tell me when to stop.
Okay. One more. This one right here. So
that one? That one.
Yep, this one. So I wanted to just highlight this for 1 second. How many people in the room have iPhones? After show of hands, I'm just really curious. So when Steve Jobs created the iPhone, he really wanted to focus on the citizen experience first and then build solutions around it. And that's the same thing that Civic Plus had. So right now you're using Code Red for alerts. Civic Plus does something like that. Right now using Google Forms for report a concern. We have something like that. Right now using TextMyGov for text and notifications. We have something like that. When you pull up your iPhone, the experience of going to an app, sending a text message, getting online is seamless. So when we develop a website for you and you want to replace Code Red, when you want to replace Google Forms, when you want to have a text that's included on the website and provide a seamless staff and citizen experience, we have that. We sat and listened to majority of the council meeting and focused on cost and streamline and productivity. Civic Plus offers that in a single solution that's seamless for citizens and staff. And I just wanted to hit that home just by showing this graphic, so I appreciate it.
Yeah. And then lastly, to add to what Richard said, one thing is we also have a citizen portal that's coming that allows your citizens to sign in and they can access all those solutions. So it's a single place where they can subscribe for email content while at the same time paying a bill, while at the same time checking agendas, while at the same time signing up for swim lessons. So we, again, like Richard said, through this civic experience that you see here, put you on a pathway that you can just keep going and going, and we can make this seamless and easy for you, and all of it right on your cell phone, and your citizens the same. So, very powerful.
Absolutely. What question did everyone have for us?
A couple technical questions. I just have you answered my, one of my user questions. My other is I think about why people call City Hall, or why they call me, or why they call somebody up here. So the search capability, I see that we can search and see things that were in meetings, et cetera. Do we also have the ability to search ordinances? So for instance, without having to know anything. So I'm gonna put up a fence. I wanna make sure I'm not gonna get in trouble. Can I go type the word fence and then get direction to ordinances related to fences?
You know, the interest, so if you're talking about that in general, you guys already use our meetings and agenda management software. So, or and also our code of ordinance. So I'm going to try to share my screen one more time here. Let me, I'm going to swap screens here one more time. Let me know when I'm back to my, my browser.
Not yet.
Okay, hang on. Am I back now?
Gotcha. Yes, sir.
Okay. So if in general, okay, so let's talk ordinances for a second. And Unicode. In general, your online code library with us is, see, I'm just going to Glen Rose here, is right here. And of course you can link to it. So they could, people can land here and then search straight into your code straight here. And we can put that on the site that way. So they can come in and search your ordinances by keyword and phrase right here.
Perfect.
Okay.
We can do that
Yeah,
now.
we can do that now.
We can do that now.
It's not always the greatest results,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
I think it's more about our content on it than,
That's possible.
than their system.
But additionally, because you're already a Municode customer, you can also set it up where you can search the entire code library of Civic Plus. So if you're trying to draft legislation for a topic and you want to find out all the marijuana laws that have been passed across the country, how do we deal with that? You can look up all the different marijuana laws that have been drafted and passed and use that as a foundation for the drafting of your laws.
Which is actually something I have done.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for that. And then, so just a couple, I guess, technical questions. I think I heard you say you were talking about versioning. When you were talking about the go back capabilities, by that do you mean versioning? So being able to go back to what version were we using 3 months ago or 6 months ago? Is that what you meant when you were talking about the go back capability?
So Richard and I were discussing prior to us coming on here. I think we've quoted you for Drupal 7, right, Richard?
That's correct.
Yeah. So Drupal 9 has just come out. We just launched the Drupal 9 platform and the price is the same. There's a couple of different things. I don't think you're going to go with facility reservations or with our Citizen 311 program there. You would go with Civic Ready or something like that, or our rec program. So with the exception of those that aren't in Drupal 9, everything else is in Drupal 9. So, and it's priced the same. So what we were thinking is that if you're excited about this, we would and the price, because the price is the same, we would send you a statement of work for signing for a Drupal 9 platform. And what Drupal 9 does, which Drupal 7 doesn't, and the other previous versions don't, is that if there's a Drupal 10 or a Drupal 11 or, however it goes, they're designed that. So when those make those moves, they seamlessly transfer you to the new versions, as opposed to having to do a migration that can be challenging to a newer version of something. It's seamless. You buy the new Apple phone and it's like, you buy one Apple phone and then as they come out with the newer versions, it just pops up on your phone and you get it. So it's the same thing with Drupal 9. So that's what that's what we're referring to there.
Okay, gotcha. So from a version control or a historical versioning, we have our website now, and let's just we set up the version 1, and then we make an adjustment, 6 months later to, we're gonna make these changes to our website, so now that's our second version, and then so on, and then we decide that we need to go back to a previous version, a previous design. Do we have the capability of doing that?
Yeah, in fact, if you're talking about specific web pages and stuff.
Right.
So, if that's what you're talking about, like.
Like my versioning history, so
Yeah,
that
versioning history. Yeah, so on the back end of your website, like if I go to this particular council meeting, the page that was created on this is our demo site. At the bottom, there's a revisions history down here. And when you open that, if you've made updates to that page, it will keep a historic revisions history that you can go back to.
Perfect.
I've actually used that to correct a mistake before.
Yeah, I mean, I have some version of
Where
this
I
at
messed
work.
it up and I went, oops,
all the
and I
time.
just reverted it back
Yeah.
to what it was before I messed it up.
Yeah, awesome, beautiful, thank you. A few more, I'm gonna assume this is a yes, we need to ask. Browser capabilities, so whether you're using Chrome or Explorer or Firefox or
Safari.
would you have compatibility with all of those?
Yes, we've tested our compatibility with all major and tier 2 browsers. So we're good. We're not going to have it breaking all browsers.
Well, okay, I'm a technical person.
Yeah.
Okay, on that, do you support 3 versions back on the browser to the current browser or only the current browser? So that if customers haven't upgraded their software, I mean, Chrome automatically pushes an update, Safari automatically pushes update, but some of the others, you might have to, some of our older residents that are a little bit less technical, they may be on older versions of browsers because their computers don't update anymore, like Chromebooks.
Mhm.
So how far back do you support like a Chrome version?
As far back as any competitor plus would. I mean,
About
there's so many
3.
versions of so many things out there. I would hate for you to have somebody call you on the phone and say it's not
You're
working. And
usually
we're
about
like,
3.
I had no idea that even existed, kind of.
Yeah, so you're usually about 3 back then, right?
Yeah, yes.
Okay,
You're not going to
that's
be running into problems with us. Yeah.
okay.
I heard you talk about being able to coach our employees so that they can make edits, but we're also gonna have, I imagine, obviously our initial setup and then potentially some big overhauls as well. There's an opportunity to preview those before publishing, so be it whether we're making an edit, can we preview that edit before it's published, or if there's some bigger design edits, can those be previewed before publishing?
Yeah, so anytime you create content on the back end of the website, like if I'm creating a page back in the dashboard, I'll show you this really quick, but like if I click create a page here, if you follow this little to-do list over on the left, you can't fail, but there's this publishing option. You can say don't publish, but save. And then it puts a watermark that says unpublished. And then you can email that around and say, okay, am I approved to publish, and then publish. Or you can say, there's only one person in the municipality that's allowed to publish. So send all of your unpublished stuff to them and then they'll review it and then hit publish and turn it on. Or you can set publishing on future dates if you want as well.
That's wonderful. My last question is just about functionality and stability, and that comes because of my internet provider. It makes me think of it as well, and I know this isn't the same, but as far as, are there guarantees for it being up, it being running? Is that anything about that in the contract to make sure that it's, performing?
What we have is that we have a 99%. Yeah, we have a 99% uptime. We sometimes will have, as with anything out there, there's service things that happen.
Right.
We put your website up on redundant servers, so that if it goes down on this server, it picks it up on another one, and they're in multiple locations, so that if you've got Storm over here and it does something to this one, it kicks on the server over here. We're also working on a solution that says if your website goes down, we have a notification that goes to you, says your website's down, so that we can start throwing flags on the field and get support chasing the problem, because sometimes that happens. Very rarely, but it does, and things happen. We also offer as a service, it's that web governance that was on that page that Richard was showing you, our Moncito program. And our Moncito program is pretty cool if you ever wanted it. And it's very affordable. It's for municipalities of all sizes. But what Moncito does is it does all kinds of web governance, from monitoring your site like its heartbeat. And if there's anything, it throws like this a notice to you that says there's an issue, and it does that. It also monitors policies and procedures. So if you guys change, like if you guys create a rule that we only use gender neutral pronouns in our municipality for some reason, that's just what you choose to do, it will flag every time somebody types something up and posts it to the website that isn't that. And it will let you know that there's a policy violation. You can go in and fix it. It also continues to monitor the ADA compliance as you guys continue to create content and do things on the website. So there's tools for that, but our standard delivery is extremely reliable. And if you find that you're having issues, get with us, but we are very reliable as far as our business. That's why we have a 99.9% customer retention rating, because of the training and the reliability of our service and our product.
Perfect, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Hello, my name's Chip. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. So how long have you guys been in business?
Well, Municode's been in business for 70 years, so I've been working in the municipal government space for longer than most of us have been alive. Civic Plus, Richard, it's where we at? What year are we on here?
25.
25 years.
Technically 27, but 25 in working with municipal governments.
Perfect. And then how long have you been doing websites specifically?
25 years with Civic Plus.
Okay. And like what percentage of that is your business, if you don't mind me asking? What you do?
It's a substantial part. Civic Plus is the most prolific municipal government website provider in the country. So, but we've been scaling as of late. Like we just bought Moncito for web governance solutions. They just bought Civic Plus, where I came from, for the code of ordinance stuff. We're constantly acquiring companies, so the contribution of any particular business to our bottom line becomes changing by the minute. The benefit of that is it creates an immense amount of anti-fragility in our company, because as we diversify our revenue sources, the way that we do this, it makes us very anti-fragile in the market. So we can take a blow over here and absorb it over there and keep moving.
Do you do all of your work on the website development itself? Do you do all of that in-house, or do you subcontract that out to other people?
We do that with our own teams.
All right. Everyone's an employee of your firm?
Yes.
All right, great. And then I heard about your training, and that's great. Tell me just a little bit more about the support afterwards, like
Okay.
sort of the process. Like if Secretary King has an issue, how long does it take her to get a response? And do you have a team that's dedicated just to us, or one customer service person, or how? Just a little bit about the process.
Okay, so first off, training, I'm going to bring this up here. So you guys see my screen? Anytown, USA right here. Do you see it now?
Yes.
Got it.
So they'll be training like weekly scheduled, and you would just click on a training session and say, I want to attend, and it's free. And your staff can just join and attend, and there'll be an expert on the phone. You can ask questions, and it's regularly scheduled week to week, and you can just come. So you have that support. Okay. We also have as a standard.
In that issue, is it a training over a specific issue, or it's just a general training, and if you have problems, you could come and ask during that training?
Both, yes. General
Both.
training, and you can ask specific questions.
Awesome.
All right. So that's standard, and it's just every week it's reliable and it's there. The other thing that we offer is we offer a help center. So, and this is continuing to grow and be built out because it's being adding our Drupal 9 platform, but you would go into our help center and there will be a series of articles and links to how-tos on all the different things you can do on the website, how to create a calendar event, how to create a meeting, how to post this or that. So you always have that. You can see there's a technical support number there. There's an hours of operation technical support to call us or to submit a ticket if you need. Also on the web platform itself, let me just go right here. You would have at the bottom of your website on the back end, you would have this ability to ask for help. So if you're on the website itself, there's this help feature where you can submit tickets and ask for help. And then you have a customer success manager who you'll know their name, and you can reach out and say, hey, I've submitted a ticket and it's not getting responded to fast enough for me. I need this. This is urgent. And they can accelerate that for you and dive into the support teams and start to figure out what's going on and what the delay is or whatever. get it moved to another customer support manager, success person, customer support person. If, for instance, that person's sick that day that it went to, they got routed to, things like that.
What's your average
Everything that Bob-
turnaround, sir, what's your average turnaround time on an issue?
Typically, we try
Less
to,
than 10
go ahead, Richard.
So I was just going to say, depending on the issue, less than 10 minutes, absolutely less than an hour. But everything that Bob mentioned, what I think is interesting is free. If you need help, we want to make sure that you're an expert. If you have turnover, we want to make sure that the new person that comes in is also an expert. We are focused a year from now as a partnership that you can still manage the website and execute it effectively. I always think that this solution should always be a complement to all the hats that you wear all the time, the things that you do daily. And we want to make sure you're experts for the long term.
Great, thank you.
Yep. And that's why you have continuous, never-ending training. You can just come every week if you want. Ask questions and learn. Go to the help center, pull up white papers on how to do this or that. It's all right at your fingertips.
Great,
Any further questions?
thank you very much.
Okay.
Welcome.
Any further questions? Okay, are we ready to move on to our next presentation? Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you very
everyone.
much.
Thank you very much.
Yes, it's on there. Mr. Cape, are you there? I can see you as a participant, but I can't hear you. Oh,
He's reading.
you're off mute, but we're not hearing anything. Might as well recess this for a minute. We just lost. Might as well recess them for just a minute. Or
All right.
you'll have to hold up because we
All right,
lost
we're gonna
it.
recess at 7:14.
I don't know what happened. Okay, I didn't remember.
Oh, okay. They took a recess. I just want to make sure that you're there. So.
Someone took another company.
Is he there? We're not hearing him. He's trying to
He
talk.
said his microphone was having problems.
Okay, okay.
Hello there, can you hear me?
Yes, we've got you.
All right. All right, got technical issues.
Hang on, we're not reconvened yet.
Yeah, we recessed.
Need to get everybody back in their place. There's Stephen.
I'm here so that I can see.
All right, we'll reconvene at 7:17.
I couldn't see. You can go ahead, Mr.
All
Cave.
right, Mr. Cave.
All right, apologize for the technical difficulty there. Appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to
visit with you today about our proposal to upgrade the city's website to our latest G4Gov platform. I'd like to share my screen with you if I could, and just kind of go over some of the features that you'll get, and kind of give you an idea, visual idea of what you're going to be getting with our proposal, if that's okay. Let's see here.
Not getting anything.
All right.
I'm showing you connected audio only, so you can continue to try, and I'll see if I can make it pop. Oh, there it goes. Nope.
Okay, I'm back. You guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, let's try to share the screen again. It kicked me out last time. Let's see if this works.
Great.
Okay, you should see your website, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what you've got here, your site is fairly dated, several years ago. We built this site, I guess, when we were first brought into Glen Rose, and just kind of give you a little background. When we were brought in with the website and whatnot, we were also brought in to help you guys with your Google setup and migration and training and all that kind of thing. So it all kind of ties together. Our websites are kind of designed to integrate into your workflows. So rather than a website being the central communication collaboration hub, we look at it as you're going to be spending most of your time in your email, in your calendars, and your files. Those are the places you're going to spend most of your time. So we wanted to build a tool that integrated with those. And the platforms that are out there, the leading platforms are going to be Microsoft or Google. Those are the two leading candidates. But when it comes to the web, there's no comparison. Google by far has the most advanced, sophisticated collaboration tools. So Google is kind of our core when it comes to where we want to focus you guys, as far as being able to easily manage content very easily. And in your case, since you're using Google already, it makes this doubly easy to be able to manage the content and whatnot on the site. So when we built the two together, that's kind of normal for us to do. Your site, as you can see, you've got a dinosaur theme, which at the time is what the council wanted and whatnot. But one thing you'll notice right off the bat with this proposal, you're going to get a brand new look and feel of the entire site. That means a custom homepage, whatever you want. Everything we do is custom. We don't use templates per se. So you basically can say, well, I want my site kind of look like that one over there, and we can certainly do that. Or you can just kind of give us some ideas of what you want with our graphic questionnaire to kind of get us started. We give you some concept ideas, and when you see something you like, then we kind of tweak it around, and then we start building off that. So the proposal would include a complete redesign of the homepage and a whole new theme to match the back page. To give you an idea what that would look like, I pulled up a couple of sites that we've got going right now that I wanted you to be able to see the difference. So this site right here, first of all, let me see if I can see. Can you see the screen tab when I go here? Can you see me switch screens?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can see that. Okay, good. All right, so see if I can move this out of the way. Okay. This site right here is in a similar position as you, although they're a little older than you. This is what their site looks like now. And we're getting ready to launch their new site, which looks like this. So the site, you can tell, is a dramatic difference. Of course, the design has been mobile friendly, ADA compliant, and all that, of course. But the sites are designed to be very clean, easy to use. This is an example with a video in the background, for example. This particular client chose to have some buttons right under. You got the top menus up here, got the buttons here. Quick, one click to get to them. I don't know if it did that. So it's a similar layout as far as you guys have right now. This particular site, it's got a place for you to post notices and whatnot. Integrates with the Google Calendar, so this is actually integrated with the Google Calendar on the back end. So staff from using their own calendar that they use every day, they just add an event and automatically will show up on the website. They don't have to actually log into anything. So one of the things that's key about our sites are they're very simple to use on the back end because of the integrations that we've made. We've made the integrations in such a way so that while you're doing your work, the website dynamically updates itself. So if you're going to add an event, you're already right there. You're going to just add the event right in your calendar. You're already on your Windows machine. You're working in a folder. You want to put a new permit in a folder, you put in the permit in the folder, it shows up on the website. You don't have to upload anything. So that's kind of the philosophy between the websites. So this is what an example of a graphic change. Here's another one. Another older site converts to the newer site. So you can get an idea of the feel of that. Now, some of the innovative things that we've thought about, we've been doing this exclusively for municipal governments. Well, I guess we started with municipal governments in 2010. We've been working with municipal governments since 1992 in one way or the other. Technology started in 2001 with municipal governments. So we've got a real thick background with municipal governments. And when I say municipal governments, I'm talking about small municipal governments. We're talking 5,000 population and less. That's our wheelhouse. We don't work with big cities. So we really understand the workflows internally and what the public needs to see and do on the front end. So some of the things that we found over the years are, let me go back to the Italy. Two things that are always required, for example, are that you have your budget within one click. The Pix controller requires that. In your water quality report, within one click, TCEQ requires that. So you'll notice these buttons right here. If I click on it, of course, it opens up the file. Now, because your file is stored in the Google Drive, then it's really easy to take the URL from the file. Once you put the budget in its home where it belongs, in the budget folder, then you just grab the link from the file and you go under our system, you paste the link into a predefined field, and it makes the button open with one link. Also, same thing with the water quality report. In addition, with the water quality report, we create a custom tiny URL so that you can take that URL, it's permanent, and you can actually put it or QR code, we have a QR code as well, that are tied to whatever link is in the water quality report field in the system. So you can put that on your water bill and one time, and that's it. And that way you've satisfied the TCEQ and their requirements for getting out the water quality report to the public. You don't have to mail anything out. It's automatically on the water bill, and you don't have to do anything extra. All you had to do is swap out that link once a year. So that's the kind of innovation that we kind of look for. Some of the other things to point out that you've got now, we've enhanced this tool, but I want to point it out. We talk about integration. So the main thing you're going to probably be doing on your site, what we found in our experience, are documents. That's the number one thing. If you're going to be a truly transparent government, it's really nice to put pages and talk about what's going on in this department and talk about a notice and all that. But when it comes to transparency is typically going to be found in documents. So the more documents you can make available to the public, the more transparent you're going to be. So our idea was, rather than trying to find a way to easily upload all the files, what if we just made it so that wherever your files were, they just uploaded themselves? So for example, in this case right here, what you're seeing is all the city documents. There's one folder in Google Drive that the client has, and they've got all the city documents there. And what you're seeing, these are all the subfolders for all the different documents. And so from here, if I wanted, I could navigate right through whatever I was looking for. Like say I was looking for the budget, right? I can go right to it, okay? I can also do a keyword search up here. So I can search whatever I want as well. But the other thing I can do with this is, if I don't need to be able to search, I just want to be able to display, I can actually do something like this. I can take those same documents and I can just display them in a different way. So now I've got two places I've already shown you two different places I can find building and construction documents. I could have navigated to it from the city documents page right there, or I can actually navigate to it from this page as well. And I can break it down even further. I can break it down to any folder in here. I can make it where it shows up on multiple pages. So I don't have to have a central place where I push everybody to find documents. The idea here is I can have the public, wherever they happen to be looking at the time, we can make the document available to them. So that's kind of the idea as far as that goes. And one of the other key things about the document search is we have now developed a piece where we have now made it so anything you upload to Google Drive that is already, well, I'm not sure if we've integrated the OCR piece or not. I think we might have integrated the OCR piece, but I know that a document that's already OCR'd, or Google Drive actually OCRs documents under a certain size and under 20 pages, I believe, automatically OCRs. When I say OCR, that means makes the document searchable. So a PDF, if all you do is scan a PDF, it's just an image and a computer cannot read the text on the page. But if you run it through an OCR process, optical character recognition, it makes the text come out so the computer can read it. Our system takes all that content associated with every document and indexes it in our search. So when we're doing a search right here, I think somebody asked earlier about an ordinance search. And certainly you could do that with the ordinances, but we could do this with any document. And it doesn't take any extra effort. So for example, I believe it's this one right here. I can go in here. I just tested this out earlier today. If I type in cave on this document, I can see where I found the agenda where we were considered for the approval for the website right there. So the documents have the keyword searches in here. Now, the one thing we're not doing, we're not indexing the documents, which is something we're looking at doing in the future. Now, there's a difference, but when I say index, I should say we're not using a metadata or some sort of extra data table to collect information on a document. So for example, what I could do on this agenda right here, yeah, there's all that content that I can search, but if I wanted to be real refined and I'm gonna say, okay, this is an agenda, so I'm gonna create a field called agenda, and I'm gonna associate this document with agenda, and I'm also gonna associate it with, maybe there's a topic in there that I wanna highlight, I wanna put that as a special field. That way when I did a search, I could search just on those two things. That's usually a much more refined search, which is great, and we do not offer that at this time. However, the counter to that is, in order to get that search to work, somebody has to manually put that in. That means that when I upload the agenda, I have to log into the website, upload the file, then I have to manually go in there and type in the information in the fields. With our system, you don't have to do that, and that's the trade-off that we have felt. We kind of have Google's got a philosophy of the 80% solution, and we are also in that mindset. We're not trying to solve every problem. We're trying to solve, let's say, 80% of the problems. So that is an advantage of using some of the tools that we do. We're trying to look for that integration with your daily activity and just have the data automatically just show itself so you don't actually have to do any work. However, in the event you do have to do work, we also make the pages very easy to edit, so you can go in there, edit a page real easily. If you want to see a draft before you publish it, you can. One of the things though, again, to make it very simple for the end user, we don't want to have to give you guys a ton of training because we want to make it very simple for you to focus on what you need to do. And what you need to do is focus in on content. We don't want you worrying about building navigation and creating pages and building sub pages and stuff like that. We'll handle all that for you. That's included in our fee. We don't charge for that. Now, if you want us to build out pages and build the content and everything in the pages, well, then we might talk about that. But if you said, hey, I need another page, I need another button, you know, a side button over here, something like that, we would do that. No, you just send a support ticket in or call us, whatever, say, hey, we need this. We would do that, and then you fill in the content. That's just part of our service. And again, we want to make it so that you're not really having to concentrate a whole lot on the website. We want you to concentrate on your other jobs. The website should just kind of be a site, you know, kind of just another tool that you use, just like everything else. Any questions so far of what I've gone over?
Yes, sir.
So some of the innovations that you're going to get with this new version of G4Gov are our abilities for you guys to now be able to create forms that are integrated with the website, which we always were able to do. But the reason you guys were doing, I think you guys were doing Google Forms. The reason why Google Forms is so powerful is because a Google form can take the data from the form and it stores it, and you can do various things within the Google form. But that data then can feed to a Google Sheet, where it then can be manipulated or it can be dispersed out into other Google Sheets. But then the third thing it can do is it can take the data from the Google Sheet and merge it into a Google Doc, and then convert it to a PDF and route it to wherever it needs to go to. So our tool now enables us to build these forms without the use of Google Forms. So it looks nice and slick with your website. We can accept payments. We can do digital signatures. We can upload files, all those kinds of things. But now we can actually hook this into a Google Sheet, which we can also merge into a Google Doc if you actually need a printed document. So in the case, let's say, of a online information request, the patron would fill the form out. They'd get a receipt that you submitted their thing. The data would go into the Google Sheet, which you guys then could now use to track the information request. You actually could modify the Google Sheet and set up the sheet so that you can track the different open records requests that are out as active, ongoing, overdue, those kinds of things. Those can all be done for free. They don't cost any money. You don't need special modules. Those can be done right in Google Sheets on the fly with any topic you want. And then if you want to go the next step, you say, I need to be able to print out an information request and hand it to a department or something like that. Well, then we can actually show you, or typically we would be the ones to help you integrate that Google Sheet into the into the Google Docs, so that you can get that in product. So that's kind of what the focus is when we're talking about Google and productivity. That's kind of where we use it as the core. When you're logging into your Google account, you're to the website to edit it, you're authenticating with Google security using your Google account. So we're not relying on our security, we're relying on Google security. Much more robust than anything we or any other company probably in the world that could put up against Google. So that's kind of what we're talking about as far as the upgrade. You're going to be getting the theme, all this backside, you'll notice the back pages all match the front page here in this particular case. So that's what we call a theme. And the home page, this would be the home page that you would be getting designed. And I can refer back over here to the proposal itself. See if I can move this out of the way again. It's in my way. Just a second here. Okay. All right. Okay, so the things we're going to do: professional design. Again, it's going to be easy to manage. Design. It's designed for. I showed you the different ways that we're trying to improve productivity, and that's kind of my background is automation. I've been automating since 1992. That's my bailiwick. And so any way it can come up with ways to help my clients come up with ways to streamline things, I'm going to show them how to do it. The website's no exception to that. I mentioned the unified communication platform with Google and everything. We also can build, so if you guys have decide, hey, I want an EDC site, or you got any other special kinds of sites, we actually can build those sites within your site, so they all can be managed within one location, but they're all separate. So and it's important that they're all separate for search engine purposes. So for branding purposes and those kinds of things, we can separate all those as well. And then we offer turnkey hosting and service, hosting and DNS management, which is what we do for you guys now, which is basically with regard to hosting, of course, we're responsible for making sure your website, the servers and stuff stay up and running at all times, right? So we're responsible for that. We're also responsible to make sure that your website is always going to be operational. That is our job, to make sure all that happens. You get that with our fee. That's what we cover for you, in addition to the ongoing support, which I'll talk about in just a second. One thing to note about the hosting is we have special security that we run just for this kind of website. We build on an open source platform called WordPress. You might have heard of it. It's probably the most popular platform, if not the second in the entire world. So there's tons and tons of developers around the world that work on build WordPress sites. And because of that, there are a lot of opportunities for us to build custom sites at a very cost-effective rate, or we can find, in a lot of cases, features that already exist that are very inexpensive and integrate them into the site. So that's the main reason we have WordPress. Now, in order to get the most out of WordPress and to ensure that everything is always working, we always make sure you always have the most current version of WordPress. So there are no upgrades. Whatever version of WordPress you're on now will not be the same version of WordPress you're going to be on next year or 2 years from now, because WordPress is constantly upgrading. And when they upgrade, we upgrade. So you're always going to be up to date when it comes to that. So kind of going through some of the features again, custom design, like we talked about, custom graphic design, talked about the forms. So the ultimate objective is to get rid of downloadable forms. We want to replace them with online forms that can be easily filled out from a mobile device if possible. Again, we want to make it easy for you to manage content. So on the back end, when you get back there, we want you to be able to go in there and easily be able to go where you want. You'll notice in this particular case, we've got buttons here that are specially designed for commonly requested things. So when you log into the editor and you know what you're looking for, you can go right to it. You don't really have to do anything. We've got a button, for example, if you weren't really sure where am I supposed to put the current agenda in Google Drive, you actually can go here and click a link and it opens up the folder for you. So we try to accommodate our clients' needs with quick short steps with the dashboard. Here's the example of the water quality report, where you paste the link to the Google Doc, the document in Google Drive, and then it's automatically going to have a permanent shortcode or short URL that you can hand out, and it's also going to have a QR code. Either one of those also can be put on your water bills. We hook our clients into analytics upon request, Google Analytics. So we can always set up Google Analytics, but by default, we have our own built-in analytics that are accessible from the dashboard. So you can see what's going on your site right there. So if you're getting a lot of complaints about something, you can look and see, are people going to this page, or maybe they're not finding it? And then you could reach out to us and say, hey, is there something we can do about this navigation? People are complaining, they're not able to find this. Is there something you guys can do to try to make it easier? And then we can kind of maybe adjust the navigation accordingly. Our sites are designed to load really fast and to comply with Google's criteria when it comes to SEO. And you might say, well, why would I want SEO? We're a city. Who's going to be searching for us? It isn't so much that as it is about presenting the right thing on your site from Google and presenting it in the right manner. So we're a specialist when it comes to understanding how to optimize Google SEO. I know you guys are using a different agenda and minutes program, so I won't really touch on that. We talked about secure hosting. So we really pride ourselves on the defense that we put up. We not only run defense on our websites, but our DNS has another layer of defense on top of it to protect against things such as a DDoS attack. If you're not familiar with a DDoS attack, that is a common attack where hijackers hijack, let's say, 100,000 machines by putting malware on machines around the world. And then all at the same time, they tell them all to make a command to go to your website at the same time. And when they do, it overloads the server. Once the server gets overloaded, they can get past firewall. DDoS attacks can get intercepted, but we can intercept it before it gets to your website and hold it off while we try to find a way to put the attack down. So we're real focused on security. We do have other optional features. That's one of the advantages of going with us, is that we're a small company by design. We don't have any plans on ever being a giant corporation. We like the idea of focusing on small clients and knowing all of our clients, being able to, work with them independently. So when they call in, they know who they're talking to, that kind of a thing. Well, that being said, we have a much lower overhead that we have to worry about. And that enables us to roll out features a lot of times at a much more cost-effective manner. So we have different features. This is a tourism one, which you guys wouldn't be interested in necessarily, but this one over here you might. So a lot of cities spend lots of money on ArcView, for example. If you're familiar with GIS mapping, GIS mapping is where you take different data sets of information and display it in layers on a map. So what we have the ability of doing is if we can get the files that are used to create the digital layers that you want to display, such as an ETJ, city limits, zoning districts, voting districts, those kinds of things, then we actually can overlay them on top of a Google map on your site, where the public can actually go. Now it's an aerial Google map, and then go actually and toggle the layers on and off. And that doesn't cost any money. It's a one-time fee to set it up of a few $100s, and now you've got that feature compared to getting a GIS system, which is going to cost thousands of dollars and tons of manpower hours just to learn how to use it. That's an example of the kinds of ways that we try to give you the tools the big boys have at a fraction of the cost and complexity. So in summary, what we're going to do is we're going to upgrade you to the G4Gov platform, which includes the graphic design, and then matching the schema on the back pages, which will be pretty much automatic. Part of that matching is going to be rethinking some of the navigation on the back side. So I understand there's been some issues or complaints about not being able to find certain things. We're going to want to know what those are, because when we go through there are going to be some things we're going to have to change just to make this work the way we want it to. And if we're aware of different problems that you're already aware of yourself, we can go ahead and accommodate that while we're building the site. And of course, we had our pricing here. We had a one-time fee of $3,000 and then an ongoing. You're just going to be a little bit more than what you're paying now, but you'll be paying $1,000 ongoing, and that does get you our ongoing support. Support meaning any kind of technical issue, obviously, but any kind of issue like I can't remember how we had to do this, or I can't remember how to do that kind of a thing, that would also be included. And don't tell anyone, but we also are guilty of helping our clients in a bind when the city secretary is out of town and she's got to get something posted. We're guilty of doing it for them sometimes. So you will get that personal service from us. Any other questions I might be able to answer?
Any other questions for Mr. K?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm thinking. The question of versioning. So it was a question I asked previously. Do we have the capability of going back and history versioning? So seeing what content was removed, added, having a historical snapshot of what we had 3 months ago, 6 months ago, et cetera?
So there's an audit, there's a built-in audit, so we can tell what was done by who, and in most cases we can roll it back, because when a change is made to a page, it does version. All pages are versioned by default. So when so let's say I got put a council member up, and then a month or a year later, I wanted to go back and see who that council member was. I could actually go back to that day and see what it said on that day.
Got it. Thank you.
Is that what you're talking about?
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
And also, one of the things you can do with the post and whatnot, when you create a post, one of the important things about a website to remember is that it's subject to public information. So you can't, once you put something up, you can't necessarily just delete it.
Right.
So So one of the things that really comes into play is like on a public information request is going to be a post, a notice. Like, well, the city never notified us of that. Okay, so you got to go back and prove that you did. So there's two ways to handle that. One, whenever you create a notice on our sites, I think your site works that way right now even. The posts are automatically going to be archived forever on the site so the public can see it if they want. And that's typically how we build it. But there may be certain times you want to actually hide an announcement, even though you want to archive it. And so, like, for example, maybe you have a boil notice and it only lasted a day and it was on the home page. And you can't really get it off the home page because the home page is going to display, the most current 3 posts, for example. So you don't really want it to be there, or you want someone to accidentally see it and think there's a boil notice. So what you'll do is you go on the back end and convert the page to a draft. When you convert a page to a draft, it's still there. It's just hidden from the public. As an admin, you can actually log in and see it on the site, but as a non-admin, you can't see it. That makes sense?
It does, thank you.
Hi, Todd. This is Chip. How are you?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Good, thanks. So about how many websites have you guys done?
I think we've done about 150.
And how many as of late? Like, I mean, I don't want a website like ours included in, like I'm saying with the newer technology.
With the newer, how many have we done with the newer technology?
Yes.
I think we've probably got about 15 now that are rolled out.
15, okay. And then what is your overall customer retention rate?
I would say it's about 95, 97%.
All right, sir. Thank you very much.
Any further questions?
Training. What is your training?
Well, you guys, there's really nothing at this point right now, there isn't really any change major that's going to happen with this upgrade. However, there are going to be some new features we're going to want to make you aware of. We have information in our help desk that we can provide you if you want to self-help yourself. Like how do I use the legal buttons feature, for example, that kind of a thing. On the other hand, when we launch it, one of the things we will do is we'll set up the time to do a training and kind of go over that, make sure whoever we're working with is familiar with everything. And then again, ongoing, if somebody doesn't remember how to do something or whatnot, it's as simple as asking us, I can't remember how to do that. If we have a video or help article, we'll certainly provide that. If we don't, we'll typically put one together or put screenshots or something together to help them. And if worst case, if we can't, if that's not enough, if we actually need to get on and walk them through it, we'll walk them through it. That's all included at the $1,000 annual fee. Now, if you want to get an additional training, it would really depend on what we're talking about. So if you got a whole new staff changeover and nobody understands anything, and you're really getting lost, certainly we want to make sure that you're comfortable with it, and we would complimentary give you a new training. But we try to make it a practice to make it simple enough where you're not needing ongoing training, because again, it's kind of Google's philosophy. If you look at Gmail, for example, there's 1.6 billion Gmail users in the world, and very, very few of them have ever received any training at all. And that's because it's designed to be intuitive, and that's kind of what we're shooting for. Now, we're nowhere, I'm not comparing us to Google by any means. I'm just saying that that's kind of the philosophy. But to your point, if you need the training, we're here to support it for you. We're here to provide it for you. And it would be tailored training. It would be on what you need. You wouldn't join and learn a subject that we're talking about and then ask a question. We actually would, whatever it is you're needing help with, we would help you with that thing if that's what you wanted.
Any further questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sure thing.
Okay, thank you, Don. All right, what's the pleasure of the council here?
I'd like to ask our end users,
Same.
yeah, what's good, what do you think is going to be the most functional and feasible for you? And then more work or less work for you, what do you also think is going to be the most functional and feasible for the citizens? Because I know the answer doesn't necessarily line up sometimes, so. like to hear from y'all, because it's y'all's world, that you're the ones that are gonna be in this.
Well, our issue is that I've been with Cave since 2010, and she's been with Unicode, so.
And that was only since
Jim?
2020. We were a Word, and Steve Millie, WordPress site before. Personally, I don't like them. I don't think they're easy to use, but I can use it.
Well, I've actually worked with Civic Plus before at other cities, and I found it very easy to use. And also, it's a very common format with municipal governments. So as new people come through and stuff, majority or more people are more familiar with Civic Plus and working on that than they are with another company. So, I mean, if we're considering, you know, we've got people coming in and out and stuff, people who've been in municipal government, they're gonna be more familiar with Civic Plus than another company.
There was something that both of them talked to me that, as I saw them, I saw something interesting on both. And so it seems like with the first one, there's more work that has to be done within the system versus the second one is more use existing feedback. You know, I love the idea of being able to put something on my calendar and it automatically populate over. Is it an impact to you to have to do stuff in?
It's as easy in that one as.
Okay.
I take that back. It's not as easy as putting on my calendar. Personally, though, that kind of makes me uncomfortable because what if I accidentally put my doctor's appointment on the city's calendar?
I thought of that when he was
You know,
talking about that.
I mean, that's,
Okay, yeah.
You have to pick which calendar you're putting it on.
right, but what if I pick the wrong one, you
I
know?
do that all the time. Okay, yeah.
I mean, it's just another thing.
Okay.
I know.
It's not a difficult process to put something on the calendar. I'll say that as well.
I don't know anything about the inside workings on it. I have fits with our current website, not being able to find things on it. It is a very difficult website from a user standpoint.
It doesn't search from Unicode.
You can't, I've tried to find things on it and Stacy's like, well, it's right there. And I'm, yeah, where? And I never can find them.
Quick question for staff. There seems to be some new technology that Cave was talking about. Have they contacted us about that? Or on trying to add some of those modules? He was saying that there was several things that we could be using right now that we don't have. So have they actively gotten with us or sent us any kind of information or literature about?
Not other than just making us aware that they had a new platform that they were converting cities to, so.
Well, I know I'm an Android person on my phone, but I am not a Google person, period. I just can't adjust to Google Docs, Google all that stuff, which I think a lot of other people, I know everybody here has been trained into the Google thing, but, you know, that's just another thing. If everything's Google based, you know, that's.
And if we change our website, that's not gonna affect our email and all of that, right?
Correct.
No.
So, I mean, we'll still be using Google, we just won't be using our
But
website.
the G.gov is all Google based.
Like, would we, so that, because that's something that looked distinctively different. What I really loved about the first one was the integrated component where you can look on a calendar and on that calendar you can click, and when you click, you've got the video and you have the documents and it's all kind of in one place versus the Google component it's Google Files that you're going into. So it doesn't seem as it's as integrated because it's kind of like, right now, I believe if I want the agenda from tonight's meeting, I'm going to go to this folder to get the agenda. If I want the minutes, I'm going to go to another place. If I want the video, I'm going to go to another place. Whereas it seems like with the first option, I'd go to today's calendar and then it populates, okay, here's all the stuff associated with that event. Is that correct?
So there is a central location on the current website where it'll show the date and then it'll have a PDF link for the agenda packet, and any recordings.
That's under Unicode.
Well, it's just a PDF link. So it is there, but you download the documents every time. I don't know about clicking from the calendar because that was one of the things, you know, whenever y'all interviewed and I talked about it, that was one of the things like it was very not mobile friendly. So I don't know if it has the same thing. But there is one where it lists all the council meetings.
Yes.
It just looks different.
Okay, yeah.
But it will not have the video agenda
Okay.
integration, because I think that's integration that comes specifically with Unicode.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
Of everybody that works in the staff of the city, who's gonna be spending the most time working on this?
Stacy.
Rosario, what about Rosario? Still, you, okay.
I think Emily does some,
Okay,
and Michael's done a few things as
okay.
well.
And your preference is,
I think Unicodes are easier to use on the back end.
And we have the money in the budget for the Civic Plus system, correct?
Y'all went ahead and budgeted,
okay.
so y'all could choose from here.
Any other questions up here, comments?
I just have one comment. It would help us out. I know we've talked about this on some other issues too, and I heard other council members say this, but when we're doing bids, if there's any way we could have just like a quick and easy Excel spreadsheet that outlines, you know, the different costs, and yeah, it'll really help us out a lot too. And it gives us all something to continually look back at. So.
And that's one of the major differences between the two proposals is, the K consulting is $1,000 a year, but there is a $3,000 design fee. With the other, there's a design fee and an annual, it's all one, and so, and we get a discount because we have the Unicode, so, 20% discount. So that's $680, so the premium is about $2,800 a year, and then the ultimate's about $3,500 a year.
A year?
A year, yeah.
But Cave is 1,000 a year?
1,000 a year, but there's a 3,000 upfront cost, so it depends on how many years you stay with it. But Cave is less expensive. It's you know, it's targeted at some cities. So I think you have a more robust website with the Civic Plus, but you have you lower cost with Cave. So.
I think we need whatever would be the most user-friendly for staff and citizens. And robust as we're growing. Because Civic Plus, you'll also have you can have an economic development area where, you know, developers can come in with information and stuff like that too.
Okay.
All right.
Are we good this time? Because I've asked 3 times.
Yes. Yes, I am, yes.
If they're going with the municipal, I don't have anything to say. If they're going with Cave, I'm gonna fight it. And I promised you I'd be good.
Well, you said you tried to be good.
I did.
Yeah, we did. All right, so anyone else have anything they'd like to add? Jim? They gonna make you start doing internet and websites? Okay. So speak now or forever hold your peace? Okay.
Will this affect the police department? You're on a totally separate system.
Well, I mean, of the two options that Administrator Lemons mentioned, is there a preference, Secretary King, on either of the two, or do we need to do the more expensive one?
I don't know that you would have to. I don't think there's really much difference in that premium. Are you talking about the premium levels versus?
Yeah.
I think there might be a little bit more difference in how much control you have over the buttons or things like that, but I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference.
We always upgrade, so could we choose to go with, you know, the premium package, and then if we find a need, upgrade?
Yeah, maybe-
You can,
maybe
and
that's
also if you notice it said that they automatically upgrade your website every 2 to 3 years with a fresh look.
Yeah.
Well, the main difference I found in the premium and the ultimate is the ultimate is $750 a year for site graphic redesign every 4th year, and the premium doesn't have that.
Well, the Ultimate's a custom site, the Premium's a standard site.
So it's $750 more a year.
What do you think?
And we could if you wanted me to look into that to see what difference that would make specifically for us, one versus the other, I mean, we could have that, discussion more in depth with them.
Is George still with us?
Yes, I believe.
George, are you on mute?
I mean, if we want more information, we can always bring this back into,
Well,
without having
There he
full,
is.
like, hour-long.
I'm perfectly fine with going Civic Plus.
All right. Well, do I have a motion to authorize staff to enter into an agreement with Civic Plus to develop a new website for the city of Lawrence? I have a motion from Ms. Harris. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Ms. Conrad. All those in favor, please raise your hands. 5-0 approved. We'll move on to mayor and council member reports. Do we have any reports? All right, there being no further business before me, I will adjourn this meeting at 8:00.
Thank you. See you guys.
Enjoy.
Have fun, Jorge.